The story of Oga, Obinna, Bree and Kyle is one which has baffled Kenyans. First, Bree and Kyle are allegedly siblings who have been dating and recently discovered they shared a dad. They came out to the social media admitting that they were a special couple, one in which they were dating and were unwilling to part ways. Oga Obinna invited them to share their story in Oga Obinna's show, and they told Kenyans that it was true that they shared a dad, but did not know this at the time they started the relationship until a year later. The show didn't really go well as they were really bashed for continuing to date, even after knowing they were siblings. Some people even thought they were clout chasing because they could not understand why they would continue dating even after knowing they had a direct blood relationship. They know that it is not legal to have such a relationship in Kenya. They seem to even use a Bible verse to justify that such a relationship existed in the Bible. Burale was even invited to weigh in on the relationship by Oga Obinna, and he was really tough on them at some point, intimating that they needed to seek therapy. Some people even felt like Kyle was on a revenge on his father, who had abandoned when he was young for Bree and her mum. Kyle sounded like he was trying to teach his dad and all the men that abandoned their children for other wives. He alleged that he really had a tough childhood after his father abandoned him and his mother. It was clear to everyone that Obinna and Burale in equal measure offered little understanding to Bree and Kyle due to the taboo attached to incest not just in Kenya, but the world in general. Burale really gave the duel a piece of his mind with a brutal honesty. They didn't seem to have liked it given to what followed. A week later or so, Kenyans were shocked when Bree and her friend came out, claiming that Oga Obinna had attempted to force himself on them in threesome. The story starts where Bree alleges that Oga Obinna had invited her for a fatherly advice, based on the sibling relationship Bree has with his alleged brother. She in turn asked her friend to accompany her to Obinna's place. She said she thought Obinna was going to take her to a hotel, but her and her friend ended up in his house in a taxi paid for by Obinna through his pa. When the two ladies entered Obinna's house, they allege Obinna told them that he wanted a threesome and asked them to go and shower the both of them in one bathroom. The question is, why didn't these two girls turn back and go home? Why did they go ahead to have a shower after hearing what Obinna had said? If anything would have happened to them, who would they have really blamed? And this is not really to justify what Obinna was trying to do. I would believe at this point they were behaving like willing parties to the threesome. After shower, they alleged that they were invited to his bedroom and offered alcohol. They allege Obinna wanted to make them drank to, so that the threesome could be fulfilled. Bree's friend even alleged that she slept because she was tired. Maybe she actually took the alcohol and got drank and then slept on Obinna's bed. So these two ladies knew they did not want to be intimate with Obinna, and one still was comfortable enough to nap in his bed in his presence. Anyway, Bree alleges that she did not sleep, that she was busy taking some nice sexy photos to post on her Instagram account. And the question here is what Obinna was doing at this time, or maybe he was just there watching her. Another thing Bree said is that Obinna took her phone when he noticed that she was taking photos and recordings and deleted any of them where he appeared. If she had her phone all along, why didn't she call her brother Kyle to pick her up, or even call for help to leave Obinna's house? The mistake these two ladies made was to play along knowing that they were not interested. In any case, Obinna had already told them his intention the first thing they entered his house. This is not to side or justify Obinna's actions, but is to caution other ladies to avoid such mistakes. They further claim Obinna wore a CD and attempted to force himself on Bree's friend who was lying on the bed. This really sounds very hilarious, because by the time he wore the CD, Bree was watching, and the one lying on the bed looked comfortable. Imagine napping in a man's bed that has already expressed interest in you as a lady and brushing his interest on the side. Why didn't the ladies tell Obinna that they were not interested in the threesome right the moment they entered the house? What prevented them from refusing to shower, take alcohol, and even go to his bedroom? For me, is the audacity to claim they were not even offered food. Really, such ignorance is unfathomable. Everything about the whole story sounds shoddy. They further claim Obinna lay on the bed pretending to be sleeping, and that after they had completely refused to bulge, Obinna's PA took them to go and sleep at the servant quarters. These two ladies were not even sensitive to time. They had stayed into the night at Obinna's bedroom. Really strange. Anyway, they were allegedly taken to servant quarters with beer and no food where they slept, and were woken up really very early morning with 1,000 bob in their hand to go home. They allege that Obinna has the potential to force himself on a woman. They don't even tell us if there was any scuffle to suggest something like this may have happened. They only allege he wore a CD, was trying to be intimate with Bree's friend that was comfortably laying on his bed. It is hard to imagine that one would go to a man's house that you don't know and sleep comfortably. I believe alcohol was offered, but these two ladies could have said no to drinking alcohol. Although they are both very young and not sure they are really that naive, since Bree already has a boyfriend in quotes. A lot of the people definitely jumped into the whole story, and maybe this is because Obinna is a prominent media personality, but all along, he just seemed to be expressing his intentions clearly to these two 19-year-olds. What is even shocking is when Kyle, Bree's brother, seems to suggest that Obinna was doing the wrong thing. Kyle forgets Bree's his sister, and if condemnation is anything to go by, he should be condemned to eternity. Bree showed several screenshot messages between her and Obinna. It is not clear if the messages were sent to her before she went to the house, or it was after she had left Obinna's house. The whole story is really shocking, as Bree and her friend seems to think that they did nothing wrong and that Obinna was the one that deserved to be bashed. It depends on what one would wish to think, but the two parties should have just sorted their issues outside social media. Bree is an adult, so is her friend, and Obinna too. Telling the story in social media and Obinna attempting to defend himself is really weird. Blaming Obinna and taking no responsibility feel awkward. Ladies need to take care of themselves and their lives very seriously.